Hey guys and gals, Malkuth1974 back at you with a preview of Kerbal Space Program 1.03. We finally have the newest version of Kerbal Space Program that promises to fix many of the harassing bugs that have hit us in 1.02, namely the heat was broken and drag was completely foobar and caused all kinds of soupy situations in our flights. So obviously drag has been fixed. That's one of the things. And one of the big things is that they completely redid thermal. And 1.0, I'll just read off the list here. 1.0.3 features a revised thermal mechanic to better balance heating, cooling between pods and space planes. Parts now have a separate internal temperature and skin temperatures. Skin temperatures is the temperature used for radiation and convection, as well as engine exhaust damage. That means that your LVN nuclear power plants use that heat as a source for figuring out what your heat is. Where we go? Part internal temperature is increased by modules that generate heat and is used for part-to-part conduction. Part internal and skin temperature also conduct between each other, so they do share that aspect. Solar panel efficiency is now calculated based on skin temperature. That's interesting. When in an atmosphere, there is a divide between the exposed to convection and unexposed skin temperatures. When not in an atmosphere, only one skin temperature is tracked. The two temperatures are unified on atmospheric exit. And radioactive outflux and influx is tracked separately for exposed and unexposed areas of skin, since the shock temperature is much higher than the ambient temperature. So they've obviously changed the heat aspect, so we're definitely going to check this out in this video. And they've also added 5 new parts to deal with this heat issue, and those parts are called radiators. Alright, so let's check out these parts. Let me first go like something like this. Bring up here. We'll go like that. I'm just kind of putting this together for we can look at it when we go out. Alright, so the new parts are in utility, and if you look, most likely if you're using a stock version of your game, you can see that. Let's see, so the very first 2 parts are the radio panel large and radio panel small. These are non-movable parts. They just hook into your vessel. They look like that. And then the larger one is just basically 2 or 3 of those. It looks like it's 3 of them, or actually it's a lot bigger, so I guess it's harder to configure that. So those are your first radiator parts. These will help conduct heat away from your parts for you. You don't blow up for certain things, especially using nuclear reactors and possibly re-entry. We will have to test that out. Let's see, what else we got? We got the new other 3 parts down here. Now these act like solar panels, not as solar panels, but like solar panels, where they actually expand and open up. So let's try out the big huge one, the thermal control system large. We can tell this is more like an ISS type of system. Look at how large that is. It's more bigger than 2 of the modular girdle segments, the XLs. And we also have the thermal control, the small. This is the smallest one, more like a what we're used to seeing in solar panels. And this is the medium one. So let's kind of launch this. Actually, we'll need a pod on this. Oops, got that like that. And we'll need a battery just to keep us going until we are fully functional. I'll just use that. That should get us going. Alright, so let's launch this and take a look-see. There we go. So let's open the large one up first and see how that does. So we'll extend that out. So there you go. It's very, very large. It's not quite as long as the ISS versions, but it's definitely something pretty neat, I would say. And you can retract them, which is pretty awesome. Let's open up this one. Those are more along the lines of what we're used to. And then the small one is just like that. Now these ones do not open. You can't even right click on them by the looks of it, but There you go. That is the idea of all the radiator panels, and they will help you with your heat issues. So let's go back to vehicle assembly, and let's load our old favorite vessel that we used in our how to get to orbit thing. I remade it, I believe. Actually, I just probably screwed it up. There it is. And I'm going to take these radiator panels off because we don't want to cheat the system of that. Take those off. And yeah, it's basically the same thing that we had before. Now look at our Delta V. I do have Kerbal Engineer installed, so we have a thing of 4,543, and I want to see how much Delta V it takes us to get to space. This is almost the idea. It's a little bit more compact because I have everything unlocked in this particular test video. But let's go launch and see how well things handle. Some of the things I want to notice is how the atmosphere is handling, and one thing I do want to check out is if they fix the wobble. The wobble is it was really persistent in 1.03, where your gimbal and your reaction wheel would fight each other, so you would get what we called a wobble in your when your vessel is trying to keep a certain heading. So let's just launch this thing. Get her up. We're going to do the same thing we did and see how that works in our how to get to orbit video. We're going to start our gravity turn at 100 ms. See how that works out. My TWR is definitely climbing a lot. And we'll start the gravity turn now. This vessel also still does not have a heat shield on it, so I'm very interested to see if this can still survive a reasonable re-entry angle back into Kerbal. We'll find out. We'll do a few different tests with that. So right now, I'm thinking that the wobble is a lot better. It's still there a little bit, but it doesn't seem as bad. I also don't have fins on here, if you notice. I'm just checking that out too. It would seem that they... Okay, so now we're getting at all these effects. So that's different. That is definitely something that we didn't experience before. Seems like we're either going way too fast, or yeah, we're definitely climbing. Now look at our apoapsis height. I'm only at 18,000. I'm already at 30, almost 40,000 from my AP. Now that is completely different. So the aerodynamics have completely changed, and I'm afraid to say that the ratio for getting into orbit the way we did in the how to get has completely changed. That is no longer valid by the looks of it. So let's do a revert to launch. Let's try something else here. Put that back on T. What is my TWR? Is 131. Let's see if we... That's interesting. I think we just have way too much. I think the TWRs are either off, or let's try this. Let's slow her down a little bit. We're definitely taking off at a lot lighter speed, and I will check this out and see what happens here. Taking off at a little bit more reasonable speed. My TWR is at 1.12. My max TWR is obviously climbing as we leave the atmosphere. I also might have to upgrade Engineer. I haven't actually upgraded it for its new values, so it might be a little bit different. Let's see what this does. That was definitely a slower takeoff than I'm used to, but we definitely did take off, and it was nice that it did take off at 1.11 like that. It just seems like we're just basically cutting right through the atmosphere now. Okay, we'll try this again at 100. You don't really want to raise that too much, because then we're going into the same situation that we had in pre 1.0 where you're climbing up to 10,000. Now the Mach effects aren't completely bad. They were bad for efficiency's sake, but this ascent angle that we were using before definitely seems like it's not correct anymore if we're trying to avoid the Mach effects, but we might not be able to avoid the Mach effects. I will try the way that Scott Manley also showed everybody to take off, but he always got the Mach effects when he did it his way. So we'll see how this goes. I'm at 250. I'm at 10,000. We definitely seem okay. So my TWR is almost at 2.0, and we're definitely climbing a little bit higher now. It would seem that we're at a little bit more reasonable, but I'm starting to get the Mach effects now because I just hit that 400 ms, which is definitely an issue. So I'm not saying you can't get the space to here, but again, one of the main purposes of a good ascent angle is that you want to get your periapsis height as low as possible, for you don't have to do so much of a circulation on when you're launching. So yeah, so we're still getting the Mach effects here. I'm still not completely happy. We're already at 50. It seems like it's definitely easier to get to orbit at this point. Let's try one more thing. We'll try the Scott Manley situation, how he did it. Let me see if I can lower this. What is my TWR? It's at 155. My thrust limiter, let's bring that to 125. That should bring us down a little bit. That way I can have full throttle and not have any issues. It might be the vessel too. That's the issue. So we'll go like this. What is my TWR is at 1.08. I don't even know if that's going to take off. Well, yeah, it will. Alright. So Scott Manley teaches you to take off, I believe. I really haven't watched the video. I just heard what other people's methods, that you start your gravity turn almost right off the bat. I never really understood this because now your thing is falling a little bit quicker. We're going to keep it just like that, and we'll bring it down. I'm just going to kind of follow this a little bit. Yeah, so when you do take off that way, everything just, it doesn't, I don't understand how that even works. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, maybe he did it a different way, but starting a gravity turn right off launch is definitely not an ideal solution, because look how fast our ball is falling here. Our prograde ball is, see, it's already too low, so we'll never get to space this way. So I'm not quite sure what the situation here is. So let's try this one last time on this. I might have to come up with a whole different idea, or we might have to just deal with the Mach effects. I guess it wouldn't hurt to try to do it at 80 ms to see if we can get our, okay, so the whole purpose of the whole thing is that you don't want your prograde ball to fall too quick, or you won't get to orbit and you'll spin out. You don't want to drop too slow, or you will not get your periapsis height to a lower level to get you circulation a little bit easier. And you don't want it to, I mean, you really want the middle ground here. So let's try this at 80. Let's see what happens. See if I can kind of force this down at a more reasonable situation. Let's go like that. There's a little bit of a wobble there. That's fine. That's normal. That always was there, even 0.91. You just watch where it's not moving all that much. So my old method was getting to 26,000 and then evening out. It doesn't seem like that's going to be quite as possible anymore. Like the apoapsis, how quick you're getting into your AP is kind of concerning to me, which tells me, see, there's the Mach effects. You might not be able to avoid the Mach effects anymore, so that might be an issue. We're at 18,000, we're at 13,000 from there. I'm just kind of hugging that. That is dropping just a little too fast for my liking. But there's not much I can do about that. So there's the Mach effects again. It seems like you can't avoid the Mach effects anymore, which means you're getting way too much speed in the lower atmospheres. I'm already at 800 ms, which seems like it's just way too fast. My TWR jumped like an extreme amount. I'm already getting to 24,000. That seemed like it was a pretty good ascent angle this wise, and I am slowing that down, so I'm just going to kind of drag this out a little bit. I do not like the Mach effects. I do not like to see the Mach effects. We shouldn't be going this fast. In my opinion, we shouldn't be going. They might need to tweak that just a bit. I also didn't almost quite get to orbit the way I usually do. Let's just see if we can do that. Oh, look, there's the moon. I'm at 63. I've lowered that. So it definitely seems like getting a good ascent angle and getting your periapsis down is a lot more difficult now than it used to be. Let's try this out. So getting to space is, we had 4,000. So I basically just got into a good apoapsis height at less than 3,000 delta V from the ground, and I could have done better. I think it can definitely be better. So that's like maybe 2,900 delta V to get to space. So at this point, let's just jump right into testing the reentry heating. So obviously the way I taught you and how to get to orbit will still get you to orbit. The thing I worry about is people are going to try it, and they're going to see the Mach effects all the time, and there's going to be issues with that. They're going to be worried about that. It looks like I just blew right through that without any issues. So let's just jump to re-entry and see how that works. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Let's take a look. So I'm in a 80 by 80 orbit, and I still have 748 ms left. We had, 4,400. So we're talking about 3,200 delta V to get to orbit, and that was not a very good proficient ascent angle. I haven't figured that out yet in the new 1.0. So let's actually just see how the heat and effects go. So we're going to do a basic re-entry that we normally do. This is a efficient entry. It shouldn't burn us up. Remember, this is the pod that does not have any, I didn't put any things on it. Let's just get this up here. Kind of point this up like that. Or down, I should say. So let's take a better look at this pod. We're backwards. So there we go. So we don't have any heat shield on there. We're just using, oh, actually still, I gotta go retrograde. I don't have any heat shield on this, so let's check this out. See when we start getting any heating effects. Let me shut the I can't even think right now. I'll just go like this. I won't think right now, because that's always bad. Let's kind of fast forward, do that. I still have that on. Yeah, we don't want to spin. Wow. When you don't have SAS on it. Okay, that's what I was thinking, SAS. Okay, I'll just keep it on for right now. So we should be heading right to the Kerbal Space Center. We'll start seeing when we start seeing some effects here. Usually it happened around 38,000 at this type of re-entry. Let's see. Oh, whoa. Okay, so we're getting re-entry heat now. That's a little concerning. What did that start at? 46,000? So we'll watch this, make sure it goes all right. This should survive. We should survive this. This was you could survive with this in 1.0 before they added 1.02 and 3 where it broke everything. We'll see if we get any kind of issues here. Everything's looking okay. Definitely getting a glow here. I don't see any heat things popping up on us. There's our lower part that didn't seem to burn up either. Definitely in 1.03, because I can definitely tell. So let's see. So it definitely seems that our Mark 1 command pod is surviving. We are at 16, 15. We just start getting some slowdowns here. 14, 13. Yeah, we're not going to heat up here. There's no way. We'd have done it by now. So it's looking like that is okay. I'm going to overpass our KSE by a little bit. That's fine. So now we're starting to get the mix of the heat and the Mach effect. So that means we're cooling down. Everything's good. Does F10 still show us? No, it won't even show us the gauge. It won't show us the gauge. They did fix that too, the memory leak there, which is good. All right, so that seems to work. Let's try a different angle. Hey guys, let's test a different angle this time of getting to see if we can cause this to burn up. I am just gonna cut everything. Look, I actually had to relaunch because I forgot to save. Let me do F5 so I can do a quick save in case you want to test this out a couple different ways. So I want to do an angle that is not very awesome. Basically. Oh, that's the wrong way. Yeah, no, that's the right way. What am I thinking? So I'm going to cut this as much as I possibly can. If you notice, I had a lot more delta V this time. I tried a different, I waited until I was a little bit higher and did it, and I still got the Mach effects. It just seems like your vessel just basically cuts straight through any type of Kerbal. Just cuts right through the atmosphere. It's like the drag. They definitely fixed the drag, so the drag is not an issue. So if you have a really nice aerodynamic vessel, you're basically going to cut straight through on a launch, and you're going to get to mega speed. I got to almost orbital speed before I even hit 30,000 actual height. Not the apoapsis height, but my actual vessel height. We have no more delta V to do this, so let's see how this works. We'll use that, and we'll do another re-entry here. Now this one's an extremely steep angle. Don't know how well this will turn out, but we'll do another test. We're at 51. I've already slowed down way too much by the looks of it, so it doesn't look like this is going to be much of an issue unless we get some mega speed on here. So there we are, we're at 34. The angle really shouldn't matter. I don't think they have it set up all that well to do it like that. But let's take a look-see. In reality, this should really screw your vessel up, doing it, cutting it this short. I think the next test I'll do is I'll do a test from coming in from a higher orbit, maybe. Oh, there's our heat. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, but it just went away. Well, that was interesting. So we did get a heat on that. I've never seen that on a re-entry before. Wow. All right, well, let's actually test how the parachutes work. They changed the parachutes a little bit. They set the altitude now to 1,000, and I think they raised the pressure up a little bit. I'm not sure. But let's see if we can actually get this parachute out fine or not. Yeah, we're way... If you open your parachutes up, if you look at it, it says safe to deploy chute, and it says safe. So if you deploy the chute, you'll be fine. If you deploy it when it's not fine, then you'll you'll have very bad issues. You just got to pay attention to all that now. And there we go. Still seems like it didn't open the 500 though, didn't it? Huh. Awesome. Alright, so let's reload this. And we will check this out. Let's come in at a higher angle this time. Let's see if we can get this. I might have to turn on cheats, so don't be mad at me if I had to turn on the cheats. Just to get me some more fuel. So what I'm doing is I'm going to come in at a faster rate than we're used to. Let me put unlimited fuel on. Remember, this isn't a game, so this is just testing. I want to come in from at least the moon angle and see how that works. Moon is right here. And we will cut in just like that. I will now turn off the infinite fuel, for I definitely have enough fuel. And we will come around the mountains. And we'll do, I'm going to make this a pretty steep angle to re-enter. Actually, we want to definitely check to make sure that this pod can still enter at a reasonable rate. It should be all set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down. There we go. That should be quite an intense ride right there. Let's see. That's a little bit not... Oops. Did I just do that? Okay. You guys didn't see that, did you? Oh, crap. Okay, there we go. Now we're good. I fast forwarded through the thing because it was just going way too fast. Alright, so we'll just kind of lose this part and we will go back to, so if we look at our speed, what is our speed at? Why am I shaking unprofessionally here? Okay. So we're still at pretty high here, so let's go. And now this is like a really bad thing what I'm doing right here. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. The angle is just way too steep. Okay, here we go. And we already got our heat effects. And this pod is definitely going to explode. Alright, so at an angle like that, that's bad. So the heat effects seem to be working. Now let's see if we can do a safe entry from moon orbit. We'll see if that'll work. Guys, I am back. I got this set up. So I have my PE set up. My periapsis is set up at 12,500 meters. This is my with this pod. It used to work in 1.02. If you came in at an angle about 12,000 meters, you were safe. Not sure if that's still the case. Now you do have some leeway here. The problem is if you come in at too high of an angle, you'll bounce off the atmosphere and you'll miss your first re-entry. Then you'll have to go around and do it again. I always want to avoid that. So 12,000, it used to work. Let's see how it works now. Let's see if I can not time accelerate through the planet again. Almost. Much better angle this time. We are now actually almost gonna do some re-entry heating here. There we go. Last time we burnt up almost instantly, so let's see if we can avoid that now. If this works, that's an extremely awesome thing. They would definitely fix the heating issues. Again, we do not have any heat shield on here. We're just using the Mark 1 pod here to see if this will work. And we're coming in at an angle that will hopefully help us or not. We'll see. We can definitely re-enter Kerbal still from a okay, there's our heating thing right there. You can definitely re-enter Kerbal from a Kerbal orbit, no problem, without burning up. I'm getting a little bit hot here. It's getting a little concerning. Again, we came in at 3,000. It might be possible that we cannot enter at 3,000 anymore. Let's see. That is definitely picking up. If you raise it just a tad more, it might not be an issue. I'm thinking that was 12,000. Let's see if we can survive this. Let's see. It's looking okay. This is pushing the envelope, I would say. If we look at that heat marker right there, we are well over 60% now. But it looks like it's going down. Down. Yes, so definitely having a good re-entry profile will save a vessel that can take a good amount of heat, like the Mark 1 pod. Again, we don't have any heat shields on here. If you had heat shields on here, it wouldn't be an issue. But this pod has to work correctly, because you don't get a heat shield in a career game for a little bit. And yeah, you definitely don't want to be having the Mark 1 pod burn up on a re-entry from the moon. So you can definitely re-enter and survive the heating effects with a Mark 1 pod without a heat shield, without any issues. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little look at 1.03. Hopefully it helps you out. I will try to figure out, I'll do some research and see if some of the other guys have figured out the correct. It just seems like the Mach effects might not be as effective as they used to be. Let's see if this says not safe. No, it does say safe. As they used to be, so it might be something we have to live with looking at it. It's not realistic to see that in a real launch if you do a correct launch profile, but unfortunately it seems to be the issue this time. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like button and we'll see you later. This is Malkuth signing off from 1.03 of Kerbal Space Program. Have a great day. Malkuth out of here.